Mino Line Media presents the Business First Podcast.
Hi, all, and welcome to a new episode of Business First with Sonia Alleyne. I am your host. And today we have in studio Michel Edwards, who is the co-founder and CEO of Bluu Kazi. Bluu Kazi is a talent acquisition and development company specializing in recruiting and developing professionals in cutting-edge technical skills. Welcome, Michel.
Thank you, Sonia. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I'm excited to talk about your company because it is not your typical human resources company. You also specialize in training talent and developing talent. But first, I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the name?
Thank you, Sonia. So the name Bluu Kazi is in origin Swahili. So my co-founder, Keith Gray, and I, we met back in college at American University. And during the time at American, we've kept in touch over the years and always said, hey, we're going to do a project together. So when we sat down and took a look at our journey and putting different names together and taking a look at where we wanted to go with it, Keith was in law enforcement. So there's the blue. But Bluu Kazi also really connects to the world of blue collar work. As a child, Swahili, for some reason, resonated with me, taking music classes, growing up in New York City. And the exciting piece of that is that Kazi means work in Swahili. So keeping that connection and keeping that journey was really exciting about it. We put it all together. The blue, the Kazi, and Bluu Kazi came together as blue work. Those exciting pieces came together historically too with my journey at Indeed, company Culture Amp, and Dice, where I was doing workforce development and searching for talent.
Wow. So your history had been in talent acquisition and talent development.
Correct.
What did you see in the marketplace that either you were dissatisfied with, or where did you see an opportunity for Bluu Kazi to enter into this industry?
Absolutely. As a young professional in sales and in my time at Indeed.com, I saw that a number of the roles that we were helping organizations to fill were filled by people that did not look like you and I on this call. There weren't enough women in tech. There weren't enough people from diverse backgrounds in technology. And it really weighed on me. During that journey and going around traveling and supporting customers, we saw an opportunity to get more people into tech. Initially, it started a bit broad. Why aren't more people in tech sales? We're making good money. We're doing really well. And the frustration really just carried over into a space where I had to take a pause. Keith took a pause, and we just saw the opportunity to get into the world of staffing, but to do it in our own unique way by bringing along diverse talent. We called it at that point talent farming because we were cultivating talent for the future. And it evolved into where we are today. So I was pretty excited about that.
Okay, I love that term, talent farming. How have you set up your organization into what are the different areas in terms of there are businesses who can access you if they're looking for talent, but I also see that individuals can reach out to you if they are looking for placement. But again, you also train and you develop this talent to prepare them.
Absolutely. So there's this unique matching algorithm. First and foremost, we're taking into account what the business needs. So a business will come to us and tell us their talent needs, but we won't just accept it as such. We'll say why. Because what we understood in the journey is that if you're asking for something, there has to be a business need connected to it. Because once you hire that person and we place that person within your organization, it's fortuitous that we take the time to make sure that that individual has a little bit of staying power and they're prepared. One of our value propositions is that the talent will be found readily, but also that that talent will stay with your organization and grow with your organization. If you don't understand the reason why you're structuring as a business for that ask, you don't understand the reason behind how that individual can grow. Conversely, when we're asking someone to be prepared for a role, we have to, with our matching algorithm, identify those business objectives and really rank it against that person's requisite skills, work history, certification, capabilities. And then we get a scale of 1 to 10. So that's how our unique matching algorithm prepares talent for the workforce. And it gives us an idea of how well they can do, and really drives that staying power.
So if you could walk us through the process. So when you identify this person, Sonia is going to be perfect for this role, what else would you think that the candidate would actually need? How much further do you go in terms of developing and making sure, as you say, that this person is not only it's appropriate for the initial ask, but they're going to have staying power in the role?
Yeah, absolutely. We act as an agent. So we're also surveying the unique needs of that human being. And that's so important in the workspace. Acting as that agent means we're making considerations around salary. We're making the ask on your behalf. The other ask that we're making is around benefits, accommodations. Is it remote? Is it hybrid? Is there growth built into the organization? We're having tough conversations with CIOs, CTOs, engineering managers, and division leaders that are tied to the decision to not just be transactional. And once we do that, we also take a look at the human being stepping into the role and saying, hey, you're stepping into an entry level role. Here's the path forward, and here's what you can do as your best next step. And here's how you advance within that organization, but just in general, moving up the layers of cybersecurity, IT, and project management, making sure you have the certifications necessary to take the next step.
Okay. And you mentioned the areas that you are you specify or you specialize in, and that is it's cybersecurity. What are the other two?
Information technology and
Information
project management.
and project management. All right. And so when people are interested in finding work and they reach out to you, what kind of process do you put them through to make sure that either they're the right fit or that if you decide to take them on as a client, that they will indeed receive an opportunity?
Absolutely. That's a really, really great question. The process is advancing all the time. What it is today is it's an initial intake and initial inquiry, suggesting and submitting your resume and applying for a project management job, applying for a security operations center. You'll then get a call from us. Once you receive that call, we're doing a 15 to 20-minute sit down based on your submission, getting a sense of your geographic location, getting a sense of your actual skills, and then having an honest conversation around that, and saying, hey, either you really qualify on a scale of 1 to 10. And sometimes the tough conversation is like, you're coming up as a 6. Maybe let's take a look at your resume and see if we can refine the resume, because what that will do, it'll help you to rank higher in the applicant tracking system. But beyond that, do you really have the skills? And if there's a skills gap, that's where we do the training. And see, we will always have customers in that way, because when we take a look at the journey of the human being in the workforce and the levels of competency, that really comes by backing it up with training. And if you're well trained and you're hired and you're working, that is an extension of what we're doing at Bluu Kazi. So it's our mission to be able to manage that along the way and be your talent partner and be your agent and help you to take a look at the next career steps.
Right. So I have a two-part question. How has been the response from industry in terms of your approach to talent and making sure that the right matches happen and that long-term relationships exist? And then the second part is, what is the response from the talent who gets the opportunity to get this type of training to make sure that they are right for any opportunity that presents itself?
I think for the rest of this time, I'm going to be saying really great question, because every question is fantastic and it's thought provoking. But the honest portion of the answer for both ends of the questions, the response of industry has been valuable because it's been collaborative. We've taken the time initially to work with industry partners. Some are old talent acquisition partners in my time at Dice, in my time at Indeed, in my time at Culture Ramp. These are all startups in the HR tech space, and connecting with leaders across those spaces and new leaders across those spaces has been fruitful because we learn faster through feedback. So we've been agile in that sense and understood, hey, we didn't have it right. When we didn't have it right, now we add the matching algorithm. And now industry is saying, hey, you got something here. We want more of it. And this is recency. But what's exciting is that we forged some really, really great partnerships. And these partnerships that are coming forward soon, one with Razor Sharp, which is helping to nurture the talent and make talent razor sharp so that they can go into the workspace and be skilled up to be able to do the things that drives industry forward at scale. And then on the other side of it, talent is coming from a space of frustration and getting into a sense of reality and say, hey, thank you for having an honest conversation with me. I've been looking for a job for over a year. I did not know I was not qualified, because you continue to get rejection letters. And the reason you're getting rejection letters is because you're automatically rejected from an applicant tracking system that has a bot that auto rejects you for something that's in your resume. What is that thing? Where am I not connecting? What have I missed? So slowing down to speed up is valuable. And we're now building automations into that process so that we can get faster answers. So with the intersection of AI and the feedback from businesses, we're able to be a bit more agile and advanced. So we're having a lot of fun right now.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So I've read an article online. It was a blog post by your brother, Dion Edwards,
Yeah.
who works with you, which is also great. And he was in the military, and he expressed just the importance and the passion. There was a lot of passion in that article about the importance of making sure that military vets have a place, because they have skills, they have talents, but the transition for a lot of them been difficult. And so, how have you been able to fill that gap, and talk about what that feels like too, to be able to do that for this
Absolutely.
group?
Well, initially, again, it's about learning faster through feedback. And when we're building products, you're taking a look at the product, and the initial solution that you introduce just does not hit. And then you work around the parameters there and take a look at refining it. Dion was really an integral part of that process, because a 23-year military veteran who, by all means, retired, has no reason or need or want to work and can remain retired, decided to step out of himself, former AWS, Amazon Web Services manager. Uh, he decided to join Bluu Kazi and refine that process, take a look at the veteran journey and what that looks like. Because he felt that frustration of what it was like to find a job, having skills and running operational divisions, billions of dollars for the military, and being told, hey, you're not a great fit. It's taking that year that you're transitioning out of the military to skill up. It's taking that year that you're transitioning out of the military to align. It's taking that year to fix your lens on what it is specifically that you want to do as your next best step, instead of just getting a job, stepping into a career, which is vastly different. A career is built on passion. A job is built on need. And both are okay because
Right.
both drive the economy forward, but be less transactional and being something that you love, being something that you can return to each day, and you're passionate about skilling up. And that's the message we wanted to get to military veterans. And so even for us as a business, why we chose to hone in on cybersecurity and IT is because there's 700,000 cybersecurity jobs opened up.
Yeah.
Globally, there's 4 million jobs, and companies are pushing those jobs offshore, and our veterans are falling short. And we're not investing in them enough, and they fall through the gaps, fall into silos, and they're transitioning into civilian life. And it becomes really, really difficult, in particular when you don't have a job, in particular when you don't have a career.
Right, right, right. Several times you mentioned the importance of agility, which was something that people talked a lot about in 2020 because they were forced
Yeah,
to do it, right? People had no choice but the big word back then was pivot, right? They had to do that. Talk about the importance of agility in business as an ongoing kind of part of how you operate.
absolutely. We had to shift as a business ourselves and focus in on what is working. We know that we had something special. We know that there was passion behind this. Keith and I have been at this since 2020. And so there's been changes in leadership roles. There's been changes in team members. There's been frustrations. But we were looking outward. The look had to be internally and take a look at our systems and our processes across the different segments of our business.
We'll be right back.
Part of that process was joining, and a big shout out to the Accelerate Network, TAN, joining the leaders at TAN and connecting with the groups at CARMO, that's CAARMO, and Vinay and his team, and figuring out across our business units how are we operationally juxtaposed to industries within companies within the staffing segment. Once we figured that out, we learned how to align and look at our business and ask hard questions. And those same hard questions leaned into the processes of now how we approach businesses. We're looking at your business objectives. We're looking at the outcomes. We're looking at the financial impact and the changes that we can make by having quality talent. We're also looking at the human element and the changes that they can make in the business of moving forward with progressing their career. That hard look that we took at ourselves really translated to how we treat operationally our two customers, which are the businesses we support and the human beings that we turn into phenomenal cybersecurity and IT leaders.
Wow. Are TAN and Carmo, are they industry organizations for talent
Yes.
acquisition? Okay.
So they're not industry organizations for talent acquisition. Specifically, they are a network of fractional leaders and fractional leaders that are covering finance, covering cybersecurity, covering areas of specialization with subject matter experts that can step into your business, holistically take a look at your business, and turn things around by helping you to take a look at where there is cognitive dissonance, which causes sort of disillusion and business practices that upstream lead you to dissolve.
Right.
So taking a look at ourselves holistically and understanding our business and how we move forward was something that we had to do before we could put our hands on other businesses and say, hey, we can help you.
Please talk to people who may be listening who are struggling in silence, thinking that they've got to figure this out all on their own. The importance of broadening your network, getting the support that you need, or paying for the expertise to support your advancement.
Absolutely. I think if you're struggling, because I myself have struggled, one of the things that's really important in the journey is to take a hard look at where you have passion. Um, we particularly focus in the areas of cybersecurity, IT, and project management. But if there's an area that you have passion, really unpack that and take a look at the next step. Is there a certification that you can pay for? Is there some time that you can commit? Taking a class online, Coursera. Is there a uh, YouTube course that you can take a look at online? HBR, Harvard Business Review, has really great articles that come out all the time and taking a look at career paths and what's next. There's a lot of frustration around, hey, I don't understand AI, and there's this sense that we're going to be replaced by AI. When we think of AI as a tool, learn the tool. And then in learning the tool, how can you apply that tool and not replace yourself, but to augment the way that you do work? To be more, as Sonia said earlier, agile and taking a look at the workforce agility and how you can transition what you're doing within your job and taking the best next step. In 4 months, we changed the trajectory of someone's career, where we've had people being Uber drivers, and by all means, we need Uber drivers. I take Uber every other day. However, in stepping into a career and transitioning into something that financially will push you towards upward mobility, in 4 months, you can be in a career as a SOC analyst with an entry level role that pays 70,000 to 80,000. What's the investment? 2,500 for a course where we're training you, we're putting you through the platform, we're transitioning you into a space where you have understanding. There are scholarships, there are grants, there are programs. Connect with your state office, get on LinkedIn, start to put posts up, start to ask questions, tap into your network, and in a year, you can be in a completely different space with believing in yourself and continue to push forward and add skills to your toolbox, because we're shifting to a gig economy. We're shifting to a skill based economy, and you will be judged by your capabilities and your skills rather than what you've done in the past, the MBA or the finance degrees, which are all very important. However, we're shifting to a skill based environment where the agility and your sharpness with AI, platform based tools, coding, Git, all of these skill sets, cybersecurity is where you will make the next step.
What type of leader would you say you are? How would you describe yourself?
Wow. It's so hard to talk about myself, but I've been able to take a look at this lately, as I mentioned, through the TAN network. I am really a leader that removes barriers, a leader that listens, helps you to deconstruct, and builds trust. I am a vision creation machine. So I set the vision. I get the team to be aligned with the vision, to give input to what that vision looks like, the nuances therein, and we get buy-in and we build together. So my leadership style is transformative, it's inclusive, and it's progressive in the sense that I can step aside and let you shine. And I often step aside to let people shine, because you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And I've been going together with co-creators and visionaries in my network, in my community, that I find brilliant and fantastic. So stand on my shoulders and look over the fence and tell me what you see. That's how I lead.
Wow. So again, what would you say to folks who see themselves as the visionaries, um, who are struggling with either releasing it or being able to allow people to express what that vision could look like in the company if you just let them go?
Wow. I'd say write the vision down.
Okay.
Write the vision down, because when you write it down, there's a level of accountability to it. There's a simplicity to it. And then you add the nuances and the levels of complexity to it. I would also say find yourself co-creators. Find yourself a space of collaboration, but also find a mentor. Leaning in the space of mentorship has been one of the greatest things for me, because I have big brothers like Maximilian Hamilton at Rogue Media Group. He has been a phenomenal leader, a phenomenal mentor, a phenomenal coach, and a big brother, and helping me to take my vision, fix my lens. He's almost like the Windex to my vision,
I
right?
love that.
You spray on a little Maximilian, and what you get is you get a bit of clarity. find yourself a mentor, tap into your
Yeah.
community. And the beauty of leaders and visionaries is that there's a community, there is a way. And when you ask, the worst thing that someone could say is no. Continue to ask, continue to listen, and seek understanding. And that person is out there. For me, Maximilian Hamilton is one of those people.
Oh, that makes me smile really big because Max is how I learned about you, and what you're saying is exactly correct. I've experienced that with him as well. He's been such a great coach and friend and mentor. I don't even know if he knows he's been a mentor to me, but absolutely, he has been that for me. Yeah. So, what is your next big vision for Bluu Kazi? Can you
you're,
say?
you're, you're making me smile. So we've just closed on some exciting partnerships, and these
Okay.
exciting partnerships allows us to tap into talent. It allows us to rank talent and scale talent effectively.
Mm,
And with the talent ranking, we're able to, at scale now, take on bigger projects, working with businesses and saying to them, hey, you want to fill 50 roles with really technical cybersecurity experts, really technical project management leaders. We can now take that on at scale because of the automations that we've put in place. And so we're excited to go from working with smaller businesses to take that scale up to mid-market businesses and continue to
um,
grow effectively. So this is very, very exciting. The timing of this brings a smile to my face to the point where my dimples show up and my cheek is hurting because I'm so pumped. I'm telling you.
That I know that's a great feeling. Ranking always makes people feel a little nervous because it means like the very best, of course, are going to come to the top, and then you're going to have this bottom out effect. But what I think is great about your model is that you really work. You care about the humans who are in your organization. So the goal is to bring even the folks who aren't at the top ranking to bring them up higher, isn't it?
That's the key.
Yeah.
Everyone focuses on the 20. We dive into the 80 because the
Mm,
80 are the underserved. The 80 are the individuals that never had the opportunity. So we're working with
right.
apprenticeship boards. We're acting as an intermediary. We're going after funding and taking that funding and putting that funding right back into training for the 80.
The-
I was part of the 80, right? Growing up in the Bronx, New York, coming from the Caribbean. I made it to American University. I made it to Georgetown University, right? But what good is it if you're not taking the resources, the journey, the path that you have, sharing it back with someone that looks like you, sharing back with someone that is has walked in is now walking in your shoes and saying,
Right.
hey, let's walk here. It's a little softer.
Yeah.
Let's change the path. And that's part of the process.
Yeah. I absolutely love your business model. The fact that you are so concerned about every aspect of how this business function and every person in the chain of how this operates. What type of kid were you? What kind of child were you?
Wow. I'd say I was I'm the youngest of six, but in the Caribbean, and anyone from the Caribbean will laugh at this. When you're the youngest of six from a Caribbean household, they call you the water carrier. And what that means is that you're always picking up the task and you're always picking up everything that carrying the bags, taking the cart up the stairs and doing all the laborious things. But it taught me to be disciplined. I became
Mm,
I became an athlete in high school, got a scholarship in track and field. Graduated top of my class in junior high school, near the top of my class in high school. So the discipline came from those opportunities, and we took those opportunities, and that really translated into a lot of what my life is like today. And I'm grateful. And so have the greatest parents. They're still married after, wow, 60 something years together.
Oh, that's incredible. Congratulations to them and to you all for being part of that family. Do you have plans to develop this model into something outside of what you currently do to really teach businesses how they can evolve, how they do business, how they can reconsider how they treat clients and customers, and how they can create a more holistic business that thinks about everybody as part of the operation?
That's a great question. Some businesses just don't care. I think businesses coast on brand names, and in particular, where we are at this juncture, we all knew and know what diversity, equity, inclusion has done to business pipelines and make businesses into solid infrastructures because it's representative of the populace. Now businesses are put in a position where they don't care. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You know, 400,000 Black women without jobs and counting, diverse populations falling through the loopholes, you know, worrying about losing your job within the space of any time. And people are no longer in careers, they're just holding on and taking any job that they can get. So I think that the businesses that our model matters to will continue to work with them, and they will continue to grow and be an extension of what we want to see in the world. And we're going to do this the honest way, having honest conversations with businesses, honest conversations with our customers that are looking to step into a career in cybersecurity, IT. And I think that we can expand this into other spaces. Lastly, we are taking this model and wrapping it around as training model, using it in underserved communities, beginning in the Mississippi Delta. More on that coming soon, but we'll have some information on that coming out in LinkedIn and that sphere when the time comes.
All right. Wow, that like hit me. We would love to have you come back and talk about the success in that and the importance for other people to see that as a model. Our society would be so different. Entrepreneurship and work opportunities would be so different if more companies understood that you can still, I mean, and it's an old saying, right? You can still do well by doing good. And so thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your insight. And like I said, the work that you're going to do in the Mississippi Delta, we definitely want to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having, I say us on this show, because as I step here, Kerry, I've co-founded Keith, and Kerry, my big brother, Maximilian Hamilton, Kerry, my brother, Dion, and the Bluu Kazi team. We're one and all, and we're all together. And so it's been a pleasure to be here on this fantastic platform. And the questions that you asked are just so awe-inspiring because it not forces me to think, but it brings out of me the passion that we're committing to this process. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for listening. We'll be back again next week with another great guest. Take care.
The Business First podcast is hosted and produced by Sonia Alleyne. Executive producer Ken Johnson. Find the Business First podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcast. On social media on IG at business_first_podcast. Follow the Mean Old Line Media Podcast Network on IG at Mean Old Line Media. Get the Mean Old Line Media app in the App Store or Google Play. The Business First Podcast is a Mean Old Line Media production.